Here it is, my 1982 Honda Goldwing GL1100. This was an Aspencade before I got a hold of it and removed all the Aspencade stuff. Obviously I've removed all the bags, the trunk, the fairing, put a new headlight on, new blinkers, mirrors. I put the original taillight back on temporarily with just some brackets. It's all LED lights now. I've cut the exhaust down right to where it starts to come back together. It's been a great bike. It runs really well. And now I want to talk to you about the plan for this winter. It's January 3rd and it's time to start tearing into this bike. All right, this has been sitting in the garage for a few days. I haven't really had it running very much, so this is going to be a cold start. All right, so obviously the bike runs pretty well. I want to talk just a little bit about what my plan is for this project. Initially, obviously taking off all the bags, the fairing and all that was to start converting it into a cafe racer style Goldwing. But more than that, what my plan was with buying this is to convert it to computer controlled ignition, fuel, spark, all that kind of stuff. So we'll be going with a Speeduino on this. It's for an ECU. And then initially I need to design a working intake plenum. For this, there's a lot of room in this. The gas tank on a Goldwing is not up here. This is all just a fake cover, which you'll see when we start taking things apart. It covers up the air box, which kind of lives right in this area, and electronics, a few other things. The gas tank for this on Goldwings on this year are down here underneath the seat. So we're going to start taking things apart. We need to do a lot of measurements to design something that is going to work as a good intake plenum. We'll be doing some 3D printing to do some testing and things like that. The bike will get rewired, it'll get all fixed up, the paint. I've got an idea for a paint scheme on this. All these pieces will get some body work done, a few modifications here and there, suspension probably. I'm not sure what I want to do with exhaust yet. I actually really like the way that it sounds right now with the factory exhaust just cut down short. So yeah, let's get started with taking things apart. I'll probably do a time lapse here, just taking off some of this stuff. I might do some detailed how-to on this bike, but we'll see. So let's get started. Well, I was going to do a time lapse, but I figured while I start working on this, I'll talk a little bit about kind of what the deal is, a little bit about the spot I'm working in. First thing on these is the seat. So I bought this 2 years ago from a gentleman in, let's see, what size is that one? From a gentleman in Wisconsin. For $800, and it was a full Aspencade with all of the bags, the fairing, all the chrome bits and pieces, a hitch, and I took all that off. And I turned it into kind of a lightweight bike. Well, lightweight. It's a massive, it's a heavy bike. But with 1100 cc's and all of that extra weight gone, it feels much better. It's really nice to ride. Okay, we got some 10 mils. This top of this tank is coming off next. I'm going to replace those right back where they were. A couple of 10 mils on the side here. Now, if you're starting from scratch with an Aspencade, there's going to be a lot more obviously to take off. But now that it's kind of stripped down, it's very easy to, just 4 bolts here and this whole tank cover comes off. You got to kind of maneuver it around everything. But you can see it's not a gas tank. It's literally just a cover that covers up a lot of electronics and the airbox. We can take this off too, these side panels. So the space that I have to work on it right now is actually at my father's house. And he's got this extra garage down underneath the house, and it's just the right size for me to get the bike in here. They moved here recently, so oops, wrong one. They moved here recently, so they've got a lot of their stuff still along the back wall there on shelves, kind of behind the camera. But that is going to get cleaned out, I believe, so that there's actually a bit of a workbench over there to put to do some work on. All right, so there we go. So we've got the tank off, the seat off. I'm going to move you around a little bit here, and then we'll start looking at this airbox. All right, so we've got a much better view now, and now you can see where the gas tank actually is down here. Here's the filler. This is the airbox where the filter lives, and then we've got a bunch of electronics on the side here, and we've also got the reservoir for the coolant, because this is requires it's water cooled, this motor. So what I'm going to do is get this off. The primary goal right now is not to take everything apart. So this is not going to be a full disassembly video. The goal right now is to, actually what I'll do is I'll leave that off for now, and then I'll put all that together. The goal is to see how much space we have here in this area for activities like ECU, wiring. We're going to need a bunch of different stuff, but primarily what we need is an intake plenum that is going to replace the carburetors. Let me get my 10 mil. So there's just two 10 mil, long 10 mil bolts down inside of there, and then this whole part lifts out. This whole piece comes out as well. Okay, this is going to go in here. So let me move you here for a second and we'll take a look at what's going on. So you can see down inside of there, that is the air intake. It's got a little bit of rust down there. Not too bad though. And then you can see kind of up here as well is where the coil packs are. Well, it's not really coil packs, it's the ignition system, and these are the spark plug wires going out to the cylinders. There's a big separation wall here. You can see this metal separator, and that kind of separates the carbs from the fan. So it's like a fan shroud, and then there's a big kind of metal piece that runs across the front. So at this point, what I might do is start looking at getting these plug wires off, disconnected, and probably pull these carbs out now. I'm gonna have to disconnect fuel and that kind of stuff. So I might put you into time-lapse mode at this point. hopefully I got all that on the time lapse. I'm not sure if it was running or not. It took quite a bit to get that out of there. It seems like it should come out, but it is quite tight in there. I ended up having to take off the runners and also one of the tops of one of the carbs. It was just getting wedged in between this bar and this part here, the coolant tubes. So there it is. There's the carbs out. I'm going to put that top back on right now. Make sure we've got it the right way around. Okay. And hopefully, if all goes according to plan, most of the stuff that I just pulled out will not go back in. These will get replaced by a big intake plenum. The carbs will be replaced by injectors. And this will not go back on, hopefully. So now you can see how much more space there is in here. If we look at it from the side, there's obviously this huge open space now. Also all the way up to where the tank comes across, which is probably about here. This whole area here as well. The goal is also to rewire everything, running off of an ECU and probably a new fuse box. So some of this will probably be retained, but it might get relocated. So that's what we're working with. That's what I'm going to start measuring up, is all this space and how we can use it to make it better. One of the other things I need to do is get shorter cables for pretty much everything that's on the handlebars, because when I put new handlebars on, they were a lot shorter. And so all the wires on all the cables and throttle cables and clutch and everything, they kind of bulged out and they didn't fit very well and they got real tight. So there we go. Time to get a measuring stick, the calipers, and start measuring where all of these are. And the idea then is to mock this whole space up in CAD. So all of this, everything that's under the tank, everything that basically we just pulled off of there, this whole space, I want to mock that up in CAD so that I know how much room I have, and then I can build stuff. I have a guideline for how and where I can build stuff. Now, the other thing is I would really like to keep these the right ones? It's probably the wrong side. Might be this one. Keep these the way they are, because these are quite quintessential to the bike, the shape of the motor. You know, this is kind of how you can see that it is a Goldwing, is because of this shape. It's so iconic, the way that those runners go in there. So what I did is I actually bought these parts. These are the ones that came on the bike, but I bought another set that came off of a 1985 or 1986, and they actually have an injection port on them. So I'm going to grab those so you can see what the difference is. We'll leave one there. All right, let's see if I can find the same one. So these are the ones that I bought off of eBay, and you can see that they've got an injector port right there. This might be the wrong side. Let me see if I can find the right one here. Is that the right one? They're definitely a little bit different shaped. They also have these little inserts. But I know that the injector port is supposed to face straight up. So this is also off of a 1200, which I believe was a 6-cylinder. Maybe not. So I think that those are the, not quite. In any case, the idea with buying these is that, yeah, I think that goes there. And then this one goes there, is that right? Well, anyway, I'm not sure that I'm going to use these on this because what I'm thinking about is actually building the injector port into the plenum in such a way that it's not seen. Because the problem with these ones versus the originals is that it really messes up this nice line, this nice curve that comes in here, and then it goes out the bottom with the exhaust. And so I'm rethinking using these ones that already have a fuel injector port, and actually reusing. I would basically end up reusing these and build the intake plenum in such a way that the output was right here, so that it still looked somewhat original, and didn't have this big, because the electronics for the injector and everything is going to sit up here. Then you got to figure out a fuel rail that's going to sit across, and to me that messes up the look of the bike. So as I'm designing the intake plenum, which will be a little ways down the road, what I might do is design it so that it has some kind of an integrated fuel rail, or a fuel rail that fits in a different place, or a remote fuel rail, so that the injectors are just running off of a hose or a piece of pipe. Anyway, these are the questions that I've been asking and trying to figure out. I've kind of been waiting to get these off to see how these ones fit on. Okay, well, that might be it for this video. In the next video, we're going to start measuring up this space and seeing what we can make fit in this spot. So thanks for watching. We will continue in the next video.